Modern day slavery through fiat money. This video explains how the majority of humans today in the modern age are enslaved, and the modern day slavery is almost similar to the slavery in the historic times, such as era of the pharaohs of Egypt. In the past, slavery was physically enforced on the humans. If the slaves didn't obey, they were whipped and forced to obey. This was brute force slavery. Fast forward to today, brute force slavery doesn't exist, at least in the developed world. In most of the developing countries, slavery by physical force still exists. However, in the developed world, another type of slavery exists, which is propagated through the monetary system. In this video, we will take a look into this modern form of slavery. But before we do that, it's important to define slavery. In simple language, slavery is stealing labor and energy from the enslaved. The only known method of slavery to humans has been brute force slavery. Unfortunately, in the developing countries, both brute force slavery and monetary system based slavery exists. Let's take a deeper look into modern day slavery in the world and how it's enforced. For this video, we will be focusing on slavery enforced through the monetary system. Number 1. Money is monopolized. The most commonly used form of money nowadays is fiat money. The word fiat is a Spanish word that means by decree, which essentially means that fiat is enforced on its users through law. Fiat money is created out of thin air, normally by a centralized entity. This centralized entity has the monopoly on creating money. The problem with it is that when people work and store their fruits of labor in the fiat money, and the central entity keeps creating more of it out of thin air, then the central entity with monopoly on the money is stealing the energy of hardworking people who are storing their wealth in that fiat money. When the central entity has a monopoly on money, then it's impossible for the people to store their labor in any other form of money, because the entity with monopoly ensures that they maintain their monopoly. Physical gold is difficult but not impossible to monopolize. Central banks buy a lot of gold using the freshly minted fiat money, and then when price of gold goes too high, they sell it to keep the price of gold suppressed. Bitcoin for the first time challenges this monopoly in a meaningful way, and its price is extremely difficult to suppress by any entity because of its fixed supply. So by maintaining a monopoly on fiat money, energy of fiat money users is stolen and hence they are enslaved. Number 2. Inflation. Inflation is a hidden tax. Inflation takes away the purchasing power of the user of fiat money and ensures a below standard lifestyle for lower and middle class people. CPI is a gauge to measure inflation, which is defined by the state, and the basket of goods included in the CPI changes every month based on affordability of goods. If goods are too expensive and steak is unaffordable, then CPI calculation will take into account chicken or chickpeas, which is an alternative source of protein and was more affordable for that month. This gives the public the illusion that CPI is lower enough that goods are affordable, while their quality of life slowly degrades. Slaves were always provided substandard life, while their owners extracted most of the energy from them. Inflation in modern day performs the same function. It ensures poor quality life of the poor and middle class people, while they still have to work hard to just survive. Inflation is a tool in modern days to enforce slavery on users of fiat money. Number 3. Taxation. In developed countries, individuals are taxed on income earned, goods and services purchased, property and businesses, etc. The taxation is guaranteed even though the services are not guaranteed. For example, in Canada, Highway 407, which is a fast commuting highway, is a toll highway, and its competitor highway, which is Highway 401, isn't, and it's very slow moving highway. Public services are always substandard compared to private services. A hospital funded by tax money usually provides poor quality services compared to a private hospital. So taxation enforces slavery on the users of fiat money by stealing their work and energy in exchange for substandard services. Number 4. Education is monopolized. In developed countries, the public education system is funded by the state, since it benefits the state to keep children ignorant about the fundamentals of money and economics, so they don't teach those subjects, especially money. There is nothing on the subject of money that's taught in schools. These subjects are not taught because the state wants to maintain their monopoly on money. This is another tactic to enslave the future generation, because if there are too many people who are enlightened about the corruption and monopoly of money, then the state will lose its control on the monopoly. Number 5. Divisive society. Dividing the society is another method to enforce slavery. Most of the developed countries are very individualistic societies. The children in developed countries, when they grow up, choose to live separately from the rest of the family and cannot live together as a joint family to pool fiat money fast enough to pay their debts. On a joint family standard, where the whole family is working together as one unit and combining all the incomes together, living under the same roof, they will be able to pay off their debts faster. The state promises to take care of the aged people in developed countries through old age security programs, creating incentives to have an individualistic society. By creating a more individualistic society, the state keeps its people in debt and hence enslaved. Conclusion. The modern day slavery is enforced through the fiat monetary system. The only way to unchain from the slavery is to exit the fiat monetary system and live on a monetary system that's decentralized and cannot be controlled or manipulated. The only system that cannot be controlled is the Bitcoin monetary system.